Guys, thank you so much for joining me in another video. So this is potential breaking news. Nothing has been confirmed, but I thought we would talk about it today. So this from Miss Tweed, exclusive, Bottega Veneta's Matthieu Blazy is a front runner to join Chanel. French-Belgian designer Matthieu Blazy has emerged as a front runner to take the most coveted job in fashion, creative director of Chanel. His appointment, if confirmed, is expected to be announced mid-December, several industry sources said. In the past 4 years, Blazy has been the creative director of Bottega Veneta, Kering's best performing label, not only in terms of sales growth, but in terms of fashion authority and news flow. This would be a very smart choice for Chanel, as Blazy is young, 40 years old, very talented, and has a lot of things to say in fashion. Not gonna lie, this kind of threw me off a little bit. We've been talking about the potential pick of who could lead Chanel. We've been talking about the last name that was thrown in this discussion here was Marc Jacobs. Now, I did a whole video on that. It seemed like he was in the talks, as well as he recently had a cover in Vogue. There was a bag that I just felt like that is very Chanel-esque. Perhaps they're saying something there. Now, I feel every month there's a new series of names that have come out. I think there was a story a couple months ago where it was potentially Jacques Mus, Peter Moulier, and Tom Brown. They were the front runners. Now it is Matthieu Blazy. If you want to check out those videos, I'll link them down below. But as of now, apparently it is Matthieu Blazy. Who is Matthieu Blazy? Well, he is a French-Belgian designer. He grew up in Paris, graduated from La Cambre Fashion School in Brussels. He did his internships at Balenciaga and John Galliano. And for his graduate collection, Raf Simons saw his work and hired him on the spot. In 2011, he became the designer at Maison Margiela when it was an anonymous team. He was also known for designing the Ye encrusted masks worn by Kanye West during the 2013 Yeezus tour. In 2014, he also joined Phoebe Philo-Celine as a senior designer working on pre-collections. And then in 2016, he joined Raf Simons again at Calvin Klein. In 2020, he became the design director of ready-to-wear at Bottega Veneta. And then in 2021, November 2021, he became the creative director at Bottega Veneta, entering this new era Bottega, this new Bottega era we are currently in. If you've been following any of this kind of fashion news, you know Bottega Veneta is actually doing very, very well. It is one of the few brands at Kering that is actually doing very well. We talked about the numbers at Gucci and the numbers at YSL, and we've also talked about how at LVMH, the fashion and the leather goods side has experienced a dip as well. During this period where a lot of brands are struggling, with the exception of Hermes, Miu Miu, Brunello Cucinelli, as well as Bottega Veneta, these are like the rare bright spots. Matthieu Blazy is doing something right here. So he already does have not only like a track record of commercial success, but he's able to weather the storm in more difficult periods. And whenever I think of Matthieu Blazy, he was able to, I think, still appeal to a lot of the bold moves that Daniel Lee was known for. I think the beauty about Matthieu Blazy was he was able to still continue on the trajectory that Daniel Lee started as a brand that was more innovative and, you know, on the top of like everyone's tongue when we talked about fashion. At least when we talk about handbags, Bottega Veneta is a brand that a lot of people look at. But I think he's also been able to appeal to that old Bottega, like the pre-Daniel Lee era customer as well. Some of his key signatures are the trompe l'oeil creations. He really made a name for himself with a lot of those handbag, but also ready-to-wear looks where it was in appearance denim, but it's actually leather. The brown paper bags that look like they were brown paper or newspaper, but they're actually leather. Knitted or like cashmere looking materials, but they're actually made of leather. And I think there's just this high craft element. I think this just works so well at Bottega Veneta. And people always talk about how well these bags are made, how well they're designed, how there's just this human touch, I think, to the bags. When I think of even those Calamero bags where they have this like very crafty handmade touch about them. They're not so like perfect and overly manufactured. There is that human touch to Bottega bags. I myself have never owned a Bottega bag. I have been curious about them. Two creators that come to mind, Lelo Sophia and Jamie Lux Petit, they love Bottega. I'll link their videos down below. And I do think where Chanel is lacking, I think he could check off a lot of boxes. And from what I've also read, he's also a humble designer. I've read how he has like an egalitarian management style. When I think about some of these other big names, like these really big names that are being mentioned, Galliano or Eddie Slimane, they are very overpowering in how they design. For Matthieu Blazy, I actually don't think that's his style at all. Again, this is all speculation. Nothing has really been confirmed. I've already seen a few articles talk about this, but my speculation here why they're doing this is I think this article was released to test the waters by Chanel. I do think that they are considering him. Nothing has been confirmed yet, obviously, but they want to test the waters. The reason why I'm saying this is because earlier this month there was a report that Burberry could potentially be bought by Moncler, and then she reported afterwards that their shares went up by 8%. But other outlets have reported that this is not the case. Now, she hasn't like stated that he is the one. What she is reporting here is he is a top contender. He's a potential front runner for this position. But I think they're testing the waters. They want to see how people react to this news. They want to see what people have to say. From this post alone, I was reading some of the comments. So these are like publicly made comments. So her account is public, so if you make a comment, these are public comments. Just from what I'm seeing like heart emojis. We didn't see that coming. That would be amazing and such a great choice, an Xmas present to fashion. I don't know. I love Matthieu Blazy at Bottega. He will be terrific at brands like Celine, Givenchy, Prada, or even Margiela. You will be one person who can make the fashion side of Hermes to emerge, but Chanel, the brand is more coquettish, frivolous, and poetic. Blazy, as a Belgian designer with all the heavy intellectual meaning it comes with, his fashion is too serious, technical, intellectual, and sometimes harsh. Chanel and the French fashion overall need fantasy, joy, party, and femininity. Great designer, one of the best right now, but not for Chanel. In the same lane, I much more prefer J.W. Anderson. Someone says, and most of all, he's easy to work with. But can Chanel change that much? Much of the profit is an Asian market that sells their logos, I think. Meanwhile, what do their Parisian ladies want? Personally, as a half Asian person, I don't know what they're implying with this. No, and most importantly, no, he is far too whimsical for Chanel. The House of Tweeds needs someone with more structured approach to their designs. I mean, I know he is multi-dimensional, but why leave a house that is so well suited for him and his exceptional designs? Daniel Lee came and put his stamp, and Matthieu has done so well ever since. Say what, child, if they don't just give this brand to Eddie so we can go better lives, lol. Big news, Blazy has managed to capture the hearts of many, celebrity or not, with his gorgeous take on Bottega's rich history. He could do wonders at Chanel given his ability to honor a brand's past. You guys sound off in the comments. I do think he checks off a lot of boxes. I will say this, I do think Chanel is a brand that has a lot of fantasy, this whimsical femininity that, at least this is what we think the brand is known for. Part of why we think this is because we are always looking to the past. We are looking for that nostalgia of a Carl era, and I think someone actually like a Marc Jacobs would totally bring that out. Like seeing that last Vogue handbag he did that was very Chanel, bright and pink, it felt like a Chanel bag. But on the other side of that, I do think where Chanel is like desperately needing help. They are needing help in the area of having nice quality, high craftsmanship. That is not something, at least in the handbag category, we think of. In this category where I think Chanel needs help, I think he would bring that much needed touch. And I also think he would bring something more modernistic. I always think of how we look at Carl and this like very postmodern, whimsical that I think was like really good in the 90s, but like we're holding on to that, and maybe we still want that, right? Like we still want that like 90s whimsical humor, but there's kind of like a dryness in what Matthieu Blazy does. There's this high intellectualism and conceptualism behind his work that I never really think of when I think about Chanel. But at the same time, it would be so interesting to see because we haven't seen that. We are holding on to this idea of Chanel, especially in the 90s. If you ask me where I think Matthieu Blazy would be best suited, probably be in Hermes. If Nadege were to ever leave Hermes, but I don't think that's happening. I think she's doing just fine at Hermes. But if she were to ever step down, he would be the one. But for Chanel, would it work? Maybe Chanel wants this, right? Please let me know down in the comments down below. I'm so curious as to what you guys have to say. Anyways, guys, that is my video today. Thank you so much for joining me in another one, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.